I'm Flo Weinreiter, and I've been a member of this congregation for nearly 60 years. During these years, I've seen a few changes in our building that have made it more accommodating to our needs. But with the impressive membership growth in recent years, we now need to make some major changes and improvements. First Unitarian Church of Salt Lake City is a place of welcoming. Within our walls, diversity is celebrated. Inclusion is cornerstone, and engagement in our community and world defines who we are. To continue making the world a better place and responding to the myriad needs of our community, First Unitarian Church must act now to preserve its historic chapel and extend its usefulness into the new century. This space provides a place to gather and to turn complacency into action as we actively engage in building a progressive and just world. We've asked some of our members to tell us what changes they believe are necessary for our continued expansion.
Inclusion.
Compaction.
Celebration.
Responsibility.
And engagement.
Creating a legacy.
I think what may be surprising to a lot of people is when they find out that the First Unitarian Church is actually what is called, we have the designation as a centennial church. The congregation was formed in 1891, 5 years before Utah became a state. But in my 23 years here as minister of this church, nothing has really been done to strengthen the outside of the church to make sure that it can continue. And so one of the major thrusts of the capital campaign is to really secure the infrastructure of this church to make sure that we're going to be here at least another 120 years.
I'm very fond of this old building because of its New England architecture, and it needs preserving before it falls apart. And so I feel just very strongly that the Unitarian Church has something to offer the community, and we could reach more people and do a better job if we indeed invested in our place where we meet.
It's important to me that the opportunity be there for our current youth, for those that will come this way 10 and 30 years from now. It's important that we have programs for them, that we have space for them, that we have a building in good repair. We can't afford to let our building deteriorate.
Coffee hour at the back, it's kind of squishy in there, so I would like more space in there.
How our building looks and projects to the world tells the world who we are and what we're about.
Well, I believe that this campaign is not necessarily a campaign to build a building, but we are trying to build a space where people of diverse opinions can come together and share them.
I joined this church in 1980, and when I came here, the church was somewhat smaller, and I also was very happy that there was a legacy for me, that the church that preceded me had built this building, that it was here for me, and that provided a great deal of support and joy.
In order for the experience that I have had that has been so meaningful and joyful, for other people to experience that, we must have facilities that meet the need when people come.
I think the thing that's most important to me, I know that some people are able to give at all different levels, but I think everybody's able to give at some level, and I think the most important thing is that you give and that you make a commitment, whatever it is for you.
We have really been integrated into the religious life and the life general of Salt Lake City.
it was actually at an event here at the church in November of 2008 that I finally realized that I was actually ready to do something bold to deal with climate change. And I was ready to get arrested and ready to engage in civil disobedience. And it was about a month after that there was the BLM oil and gas auction in December of 2008 that seemed like as good of a target as any. So I went there with that commitment in mind and saw the opportunity to register as a bidder and ended up disrupting that auction by outbidding all the oil companies and then making it clear that this was an act of civil disobedience.
It's been an honor and a privilege to work with First Unitarian Church. They've been an incredible ally and an advocate for equality for gay and transgender people. There are so many things that First Unitarian has done to support our community, the least of which I would say may be hosting events free of charge, allowing LGBT people to use their space for interfaith services, allowing them to use them for transgender awareness events, and of course, I think it's very important to mention providing a safe and welcoming space for people to come and worship, as well as to come and host their own commitment ceremonies. That kind of personal and religious support to the gay and transgender community, the value is incredible. I don't know that I could actually effectively speak to how important that is for so many people within the gay and transgender community to have a safe, spiritual place to call home.
Hi. Salt Lake Acting Company is celebrating its 40th anniversary this year. It was incorporated in 1970 with Ed Griska. Larry Hellstrom found the space at the Unitarian Church back in 1970, which was where Salt Lake Acting Company first performed there up until we moved to Aeropress Square. So we would not have been around for 40 years without the support of the Unitarian Church.
Well, this church has what I consider a very active social justice committee. We have the sandwich making, we have the refugee household goods, and we also have a group that supports the gay and lesbian people.
We have also been the initial home for the National Organization of Women, at least the Utah chapter of the National Organization of Women. That started here. Another group that started here was the Utah chapter of Planned Parenthood. League of Women Voters have always gathered here. And so I think the church has just performed a wonderful service to the community for nearly 120 years.
And I think the Capital Campaign is a wonderful opportunity for people to really think deeply about where this church is going. The church is full. It's such a welcoming home to so many people. I think the doors need to stay open in a way that people can come in. And I think right now the church feels kind of tight and full. And that makes me sad. I think it should be as open as it was when I walked through the door.
I view sacrifice as the loss of something. I don't see this legacy campaign as a loss of anything, but a gain at every step.
Inclusion.
Engagement.
Celebration.
Responsibility.
Faith in the future.
Faith in the future.
Faith in the future.